Alright, so the first exercise we're going to be doing for our Olympic lifting video is the clean grip pull. So this is a very simple exercise which is the foundation of a lot of our Olympic lifts. So you're going to start in a deadlift position. You're going to then lift the bar off the ground, shoot upwards, making sure that the bar keeps close to your body the whole time. You're going to keep going, making sure that you stay nice and tall all throughout the end of the movement, pushing your chest upwards. You're going to then push your hips through and go onto your tippy toes, shrugging the bar, and then that's when the position, the exercise is going to end.
So here to start off with a clean grip pull.
We're going to start down low in our deadlift position, making sure that our back is straight, arms are just outside hip width, and then we're going to push up
And push all the way through, making sure our hips push forward.
So we're going to do a few reps of this. So your clean grip pull looked really good technically. There's a few wee things that you might need to work on. Work on being a bit more explosive throughout the movement, making sure you fully lock out and fully push your chest up to the sky. You want to really get nice and tall for the whole exercise. You also want to have your back a bit more flat when you're down, bending over, getting the bar. You want to push your shoulder blades a bit more together, push your hips out backwards, and then make it a bit more comfortable for you to push it. Okay, so a regression I would use for the athlete for the clean grip pull would be simply just starting in a shrug position, really practicing the explosive top half of the movement, making sure that he gets nice and tall and onto his tippy toes throughout that end part of the movement. Right, for the second exercise we're going to be doing is a push press. So this is a very simple exercise as well. We're going to start with the bar up onto our shoulders as if we were going to do an overhead press position. However, the only difference is that we get to use a bit of a counter movement, so we will bend our knees and use a bit of the power from our legs to then shoot up, push the bar over our head, making sure that we keep stable and push our head through the gap with
now onto our push press. We're going to be here with the bar in an overhead press position. We're going to make sure to slightly bend in our knees and push everything upwards at the same motion, pushing our head through the gap we're making with our arms, controlling the bar back down, and then doing a few more reps.
So overall for the push press, the athlete did it really well. One thing that I find that you could maybe work on is making sure that your knees stay pushing out when you're doing the counter movement down and they do not come in. Apart from that, it was... So seeing as the push press doesn't really have a progression exercise, what we could say to the athlete is adding a bit more weight onto the bar, making it a bit more challenging for you, and then you can add it into exercises like your clean pull and press, etc. So for our third exercise, we are going to be doing the hang power clean. So the athlete is going to grab the bar with his grip just being outside hip width, with his stance being hip width as well. We're going to make sure to keep the bar close to our body through the whole movement. All right. You're going to do a counter movement downwards for the bar going to about mid-thigh height. You're then going to shoot upwards, pushing your hips forward and pushing your chest out, making sure to keep tall. All right. You're then going to keep pushing like you're doing a jump. So you're going to keep pushing till you're on your tippy toes and then pull a shrug. You're going to have the bar moving upwards and then you're going to slip underneath it like a front squat. All right. With this, you are going to also be doing a receiving stance to catch the bar underneath you. Okay.
Power clean. We've got our feet in our hip width stance, our hands just outside hip width as well. We're going to start with our small counter movement, making sure that our arms are fully extended, and then shooting up, pushing our hips forward, going onto our tippy toes, and then shrugging. Looks a bit like this. Alright, so for the hang power clean, the athlete completed it rather well. There are a few wee things where he could improve upon. His coordination and when he's going for his foot placement at the end of the movement could be something he works on a bit more. His explosivity through the movement, and also similarly to the first Olympic lift, making sure that on the way up he gets that full extension, making sure he gets nice and tall, pushing all the way out. Seeing as the athlete completed the exercise rather well and there were only a few things for him to work on, I'd like to challenge him and see if he could potentially do a power clean or a hang power clean, maybe with a bit more weight, and then go from Alright, for our fourth and final Olympic lift, we're going to be doing the hang power snatch. So it has a lot of similarities to the hang power clean. However, your grip on the bar is going to be much wider up until the bar is resting just on your hips. You're going to do a similar counter movement downwards, and when you are pushing up, your arms are going to slightly bend. When you extend all the way through and make sure that you get tall, you are going to produce enough force for the bar to start moving upwards, and you need to make sure to keep your arms in this frame here. When you catch the bar, you need to make sure that you're stable all the way through your body and that you do not go too far back, too far forward. And you want to push your head through the frame, making sure that you stay nice and strong, and you want to lock your shoulders out all the way, okay? So same thing here, keeping our feet at hip width. We have our wide grip with our hands with the bar resting just at our hips. All right, so same thing, we're going to use our counter movement, push the bar upwards, make sure that we're getting nice and tall, getting onto our tippy toes, pushing all the way through, and keeping this nice strong A-frame with our arms. Okay, finally for the hang power snatch, the athlete completed it rather well. There were a few things, however, that could have been adjusted. His control through the movement, especially when locking out, is something that he'd need to work on, making sure that he keeps nice and strong through his whole posterior chain and his core. Making sure that he's a bit more explosive through the movement would potentially help him in that as well. Similarly to the other Olympic lifts though, he'd need to work on his coordination, making sure that he gets his footing right, but overall strong lift. So a regression exercise the athlete could use for the hang power snatch would maybe just be doing a shrug with his hands in the snatch position, getting comfortable with that area before then progressing into a hang power snatch.